And welcome to the podcast, my first English-speaking guest.
Thank you for having me.
And you know what? We know each other through just because we met a couple of times through Standup.
Yeah.
And I love Australians, and you just have this personality that just is so welcoming and open. Like
Yeah.
everyone just loves you right away.
Dude, that's the Australian way, bro.
Yeah.
We're fucking people. You know what I mean? Like, we're like, hey, dude. Like, but everybody I meet, I think maybe this could be my new best friend.
Yeah.
That's my attitude.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm like, okay, fuck it. Like, let's just hang out like we know each other.
That is the Australian way.
Totally. You know how many people I've met, like, just on the bus or on the fucking way home that I've ended up, like, being lifelong friends with?
Really?
Yeah, so many. So many.
Here in Norway, or
A couple in Norway, and then obviously heaps in fucking Australia too.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, of course. This is free. Everything is allowed here.
Okay.
And when I invited you, I didn't even know that you had your own podcast. That's like way better and more professional than this. I just remember like it's that nice guy from those stand-up show. I want him here.
Yeah, cool. Well,
Because you have a real podcast. You got a proper setup.
I got a proper setup, man. Yeah.
Tell me about it. How did that start?
No, I just felt like it was probably like an interesting thing to spend my time doing, getting to know other comedians, and I kind of use it as a kind of like a bit of a life hack.
Okay.
You know, so if I'm interested in anything, I'll just try to get a fucking expert on that topic and just ask them every question that I possibly can. So, a lot of the guests that I've had on are comedians that are way more experienced than me. And I'm like, so just tell me how you do this.
Yeah.
How do you write? What's your process for being a host? And then, they answer all the questions.
Because it's primarily comedians.
Yeah, mostly. Well, that's just my network, and I with the podcast, I follow things that I'm interested in. So I'm interested in comedy, but I'm interested in yoga too, or I'm interested in fucking whatever.
Because I saw you had that. My girlfriend know one of your guests from. I think they studied together. She lives in a van.
Yeah.
How do you know her? Yeah.
Dude, I don't know her at all. I've never met her before in my life. But
You met her on the bus.
I did. The people just send me requests. They go, hey, this is a friend of mine. I think she'd be a good guest on your podcast.
Oh, really?
And yeah, usually I just say yes. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
Well, that's
dude.
where I want to be, because I didn't know that you had that podcast, but then it looks like you've been doing it for a year or so.
Yeah, I've been going for about a year now. Yeah.
And same reason I started this thing. I just I've worked in radio, wanted to be a host and never sort of really got the chance in NRK. So just like, you know what? I have the shot now. I'm just gonna start my own. And same thing, just as an excuse to. There was a couple of authors I really wanted to talk to, and that I would never be able to sort of get close to, but then I just invited him here, and 2 weeks ago my favorite author sat right there, and I could just like ask him all my questions for 2 hours.
Perfect.
It's awesome.
Who's your favorite author?
Erlen Lo.
Yeah.
She's like short sentences, writes like absurd stories, and you can see him around Oslo on a one-wheeled bicycle. Have you seen that guy?
No.
Sounds
like an eccentric personality.
Yeah. He's a cool guy, though.
Yeah.
He's really cool. But you're kind of an eccentric personality at times too, at least according to your Instagram.
Yeah, I guess.
You have, when you scroll down your feed, because I didn't know that much about you. I just knew that you're Australian, you do stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
You have an old school, classic, awesome Instagram. But like when you go a couple of years back. You're like the coolest Instagram I've ever seen.
Yeah, really? Thank you. Yeah.
You're everywhere.
Yeah.
You've met all sorts of... Is that because of your work? Or how do you meet all these celebrities and do all this crazy stuff?
So I'm just in the right place at the right time. I think so. And I'm pretty good at, just being... I'm a pretty social person. Yeah. And I'm just talking to people, and then I say yes to everything.
Yeah.
Hey, do you want to go to the after party? Like, yeah, let's go. Do you want to go here? Yeah, fuck it, let's go. So I'm pretty stoked for new experiences. So then I feel like you just end up, when you have that attitude, you just end up meeting other people and interesting situations and shit like that. So I guess that's kind of it.
Have you ever said yes to anything and then been like, oh, fuck, I should have said no?
Oh, yeah, a lot of ugly chicks, a lot of fatties. Yeah, definitely, man, 100%. You know, because I also think it's better to regret the things you've done than the things you haven't. So I've ended up like doing a lot of stupid shit and, you end up fucking doing dumb stuff all the time.
How old are you?
I'm 44.
So you're an experienced guy.
I'm an experienced moron. Yeah.
How was that starting comedy? When did you start? And
I started like at the end of 2018.
Okay, so as an adult.
Yeah, as an adult. But like in Australia as well, like people, everybody is basically a comedian.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like your friend group is always dudes that you have like a good time with, you banter with. Like we have a lot of chat, like a lot of back and forth, and everybody's like really good at making jokes and stuff like that. So it wasn't like this massive leap to start doing stand-up comedy.
No.
Because like all my friends are funny. Your friends are probably fun. You know, when you're hanging out with dudes, it's like you're busting each other's balls or saying fucked up shit.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, well, now I'm just going to do that on stage.
Yeah, I have this one good friend that we did like high school comedy shows together.
Yeah.
And we've made a couple of sketches together after that, but I've always said to him like we should do like improv together, or you should also start doing stand-up, because he's just a natural, really funny guy. But I don't know why he hasn't started or tried.
Dude, a lot of the funniest people that I've ever met never want to do it.
No.
I'm like, dude, you're so funny. Or even like a lot of girls that I know. Okay, listen, as a girl, if you got into comedy, you'd be like headlining Latter in like 2 or 3 years. But they don't have the interest, and they are hilarious.
But I must say, because you make a couple of like sketches for your social media, and I like sketch comedy is probably my preferred thing. Like we met through stand-up, but I always feel it's more fun to like record sketches, plan out sketches, or just like do improv.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And I love your the like improv robbery or whatever it is, where like two bank robberies want to do that. And that was a thing from a Norwegian TV show, like improv making fun of news, where they had to like two people have to use the same voice.
Yeah.
And they go in like, give us your money.
yeah. That was a fun one. Like I'm like you. I love doing like sketches and things like that. I think it's because it's like with stand up, it's just then and there. You know what I mean? Unless you're filming it or like putting out a video or something like that. And even then it kind of doesn't translate as well. But with like a sketch, and you plan it out, you get the costumes and you become somebody else. I really, really enjoy that. Did you do a lot of sketches then?
Like in high school, as I said, we have something called like revy. So you get a lot of practice then. And then after that, just studying journalism. Every chance I had to make like a little video skit that was supposed to be serious, but if I could make it fun, I always did that. Like when we made like we had to do all sort of school assignments, it has to be like a real story. I often made it like a real news story. I often made it as a sketch, or at least sometimes, just thinking that was fun. And like interviewing people, I interviewed myself and saying silly things. I always just loved that. But the hard thing for me was to like get my friends on board to film and play the other characters. And I had one of my friends who's not that much into comedy, like play this really silly guy, like falling in a weird way. And I wasn't happy with it. So I made him like do it 10 times for the take. And he's like, come on, man. Can we please stop? But I'm just like, no. You have to...
You gotta nail it, bro.
Yeah.
Commit to the art.
So I haven't been able to do it as much as I wanted to, but
Dude, let's do a sketch.
Yeah.
Let's do it. You heard it here first.
Yeah, exclusive. I have a lot of ideas. And like I've mentioned in the podcast before, I worked in a entertainment, something called NRK Fjerde Etasje, which is like YouTube entertainment for kids.
With the Karsten and Ola.
And with Ole. I came
on,
I think Karsten left like 2 weeks before I started.
And what was your job?
Everything behind the camera.
Okay, so you would film and edit and whatever else.
And direct and come up with the ideas. And
You're the perfect person to do stuff like that with him.
Yeah, but I want to be in the sketches too.
Of course, that's what I'm talking about. Like the people behind the cameras, I think they're actually like super valuable because you need them to do the shit. But like, if you can do both, you know what I mean? I think that's fine.
Yeah. But how did you get into? When did you start making sketches?
Dude, I was, when did I start? I was a stuntman in Australia before I came to Norway.
Oi.
Yeah, so before I left Norway, I was doing a lot of stunt training. And in stunt training, you'd need to do a lot of fight choreography.
Yeah.
So you'd need to and we'd always work out stupid scenes, you know. And it'd always be like, oh, hey, you know, you fucked my dog. What? No, you fucked my dog. You know, like just the stupidest shit. Because we never really wanted to do just like fight scenes that were like, you know, like too aggressive. They were very violent, like obviously. But we always wanted to try to add like an element of comedy into it.
When rehearsing?
Yeah, and when shooting it. Because the main thing that we needed to practice was like how to punch somebody, like kicks, throws, falls, things like that. So the storyline wasn't really important.
Okay.
So it was just mostly like the techniques that we were practicing. But then we're like, okay, if the storyline isn't important, let's make the dumbest storyline we possibly can. So we didn't even need to use any dialogue, but we just made like these pretty stupid sketches. So then I started like that actually. I think the first sketches I did were like, combat stunt sketches. Yeah.
Just take your mic a little bit further away.
Or like that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Stuntman.
Yeah.
That's and I also saw that because that's how I had to research you, just stalking you on Instagram. I saw and I didn't know this about you, but the pieces fell into place. It was just the coolest picture almost I've ever seen of your dad.
Oh yeah.
With a Mad Max car.
Yeah.
In Australia, looking like you in the 70s or 80s or whatever this was.
Yeah.
Your dad was a stuntman too.
Yeah, he was. So he was a stuntman and then he became a stunt coordinator. So he did stunts and then he was like coordinating the action for stunts.
Yeah.
And then he did stunts on Mad Max and Crocodile Dundee and Home and Away, like heaps of fucking Australian shows, you know.
Because Mad Max, for those who doesn't know it, didn't first come out in 2015 or whatever. It is an older film series from Australia.
Yeah. I think it came out in like the early 80s or something.
Yeah.
Because I remember I went on set for Mad Max 3. They filmed it where the Olympic Stadium in Sydney is now.
Okay.
So that used to just be like a brickwork place. Like basically there's nothing there. Like it looks like fucking the apocalypse. And so that was 20 minutes away from my house. And I went to the set with my dad a bunch of times. And then like, you know, got to see... You know, stunts. I grew up watching stunts my whole life.
Yeah.
My dad had a stunt team. I knew like heaps of actors. We were always involved in like films and shit like that. So it was cool, man. Like it was like a really fun.
That sounds like the most Australian and most cool thing ever.
Dude, it was badass, man. Yeah, it was really cool because my you know, like my dad was training stunt people like on the weekends to make sure that they had the skills to work in the films that he was working on and commercials and things like that. So every weekend there was always like, we were always doing high falls or like car crashes, or I was watching fire burns and like horse riding and water stuff and all rock climbing, all sword fighting, like everything. So I grew up from the age of like 5 until like 15, 16, like just always around stunts and stunt performers.
Wow.
Yeah. And the people that he trained ended up being like, you know, some of the best stunt performers in Australia. And then, you know, some of them went to America as well. And so it was really cool, man. It was really cool because like stunts are badass and they're really awesome.
Yeah.
So then like how old was I? When I was like 18 or 19, then I started like getting into stunts as well. I did the training and everything. And then I started doing stunts for a few years and then I went traveling and then I went back to Australia and did some more stunts. And then I came to Norway.
So that was your primary like work, was as being a stuntman.
Yeah, as a stunt performer.
And what qualities do you need besides just being a hard ass? And
well, you need to be like pretty good at like, I think it's 5 disciplines, and you can specialize in one of them, but you need to have a basic foundation of competence in all 5 of them. So it's like vehicles, and that's a lot right there. Like driving, motorbikes,
Motorcycles, yeah, especially that's...
Yeah, motorcycles. And then there's like, it's body control. So that's like acrobatic stuff, like stair falls, high falls, you know. And then there's like this fighting, and then there's animals, and then there's water. So you need to kind of be like pretty decent in like horse riding, and then like scuba diving and swimming and all kinds of shit like that.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of specialize into a particular field. So there are some people that are just like expert car drivers, you know, like precision drivers. Like, okay, we got to hit the mark. We got actors. It's very dangerous. Lots of people crashing. And they really, really, really specialize in that. And then you have people that are like more martial arts oriented. And then they like really good with wire work and, you know, like kind of acrobatic style kung fu.
Yeah.
So, you know, at a certain point, people can start to specialize. And then, so that's, there's a lot, man. And then there's people that like are really good at just horses. You know, they're horse stunt performers. They fall off horses. They ride horses. You know, they're really good at shit like that.
In the, is it called Hail Caesar, that Coen Brothers movie? It came out like maybe 8 years ago. There's they just portray Hollywood in the 30s and how they took actual cowboys and turned them into, first and foremost, stuntman. But if you were handsome and didn't have to say that many lines, you became an actor as well. Yeah, because you just needed, that was sort of your primary thing, being a gunslinger, riding a horse, and saying sort of a line here and there. Yeah. So they took actual people who knew how to ride a horse and like jump off a horse at speed, jump on it again.
Yeah, that makes sense. They'd be the experts at it. You know?
Yeah. So I think that's just but I didn't know that. Also, tell me, how big is the movie industry in Australia? If you can support whole stunt teams, because I don't think
it's massive. Absolutely massive. Yeah. It's huge. Like when you think about it, like Australia is cheaper than America. Like we have like pretty decent weather all year round. And we have a lot of like, it's a lot of English, it's English speaking. So, and you know, we have particular types of nature and things like that, and big studios and like really good crew. So they make a lot of movies in Australia, man. Like Marvel movies, The Matrix, all kinds of shit. Oh. Yes, constant. And then there's a ton of commercials as well. Yeah. Yeah, so they're making a lot of stuff.
Is there anything that we might have seen that you've stunted on or been a stuntman on?
Dude, I think maybe the biggest thing that I might have done was I worked on this movie called Superman Returns. It was a Superman movie shot in like 2007 or something like that.
Okay, who's the Superman in it? Do you remember?
Dude,
there's so many Superman movies. There's one called just Man of Steel. Yeah. Is it that one?
No, I don't think so. It's before Henry Cavill.
Okay.
And he was okay, you know. But I think he only did one Superman movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're right. There's been fucking tons.
There's so many of them now. And then suddenly there's the one with Superman and Batman. I didn't see that one.
No, and there's Justice League.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that one too. I haven't seen that one
I think
either.
that's the same Superman. I think that's Henry Cavill.
And then there was suddenly a longer extended Justice League.
That was awesome.
Remember that part?
The 5-hour movie?
Yeah, the one was just like, it was the name of the director.
It was Zack Snyder.
Yeah, because the fans were unhappy with the first take or something, and then he was allowed to make his extended version where everyone was just like, yeah, that's it.
Have you seen it?
I have not. I've fallen off the whole action movie or not superhero movie train after. I don't know, after Thor 3, I was kind of like, okay, I'm going to take a little break.
Which one was Thor 3?
I don't know, but it was just like too many of them. Yeah. Maybe that was the first Avenger movie, but I've seen like parts of them, but haven't been able to, they don't, even that Spider-Man movie, when all the Spider-Mans come together at the end, I watched it with a friend and he was like amazed and like blown away. And I wasn't able to, I don't think I was too deep in the universe to really appreciate it.
No, I'm a little bit the same. Like I like a good superhero movie, but I just can't fuck with a lot of them, man. But I really liked the Justice League one. I was just like 5 hours. I just smoked a bunch of weed. You know what I mean? Like I had chips. I fucking took naps. I woke up, I pushed play, smoked some more weed.
But I must say, and I haven't actually completed that one yet. Avatar is one of those movies that really. I really get carried away in. And just like I started watching the sequel, the second one, just here. And after 20 minutes, I just feel like everything, I actually believe the story and I actually sort of dive into the universe. That's something that those movies actually sort of capture me.
Yeah.
Even though I think a lot of people don't really like them, but even the first movie, that was also the first one where that new generation of 3D in the cinemas came, at least in Norway. That was the first movie where I forgot that I existed.
Yeah.
Like I was so overwhelmed by that I actually sort of forgot that I'm a person sitting here. I was just in the universe.
Yeah, that's what you want.
Of course, I was 13 or something, so.
But I don't think you can really get that. I forget that I'm in the universe thing. Just if you were at home on
no,
watching it on HBO or some shit.
But it was just because you had that blue and red 3D. Remember that one? And then suddenly it came with like, it was golden or something, the lenses, and those seeds from Avatar actually was 3D.
Yeah,
Blew me away.
You got avatared. Yeah, but I'm a big movie fan, man. Like, I love cinema. I love watching. I love going to the IMAX. You know, I'm going to IMAX at New Darlin like as much as possible.
You do?
Yeah, definitely. I don't give I don't want to watch a movie like at home, like on my sofa. And the only time I ever really enjoyed doing that is when I have friends over. Yeah. And we're like, okay, let's fucking put on this movie and we'll just talk shit along the way. But if I want to watch a movie, like see something like Oppenheimer or I don't know, like fucking Mission Impossible, I gotta go to IMAX. Yeah. Just strap in, no phones, no bullshit. Like let's just fucking zone in,
What do you think about that Sphere? Have you seen the videos from that? The Sphere in Las Vegas?
Yeah, it looks dope, man. I want to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks crazy.
It's also one of the few technology things that blew me away. This is actually a game changer. I feel like there's like every once in a while there's a little bit better audio, there's a little bit better image, but that thing, when I saw it, I was just like, this is different.
Yeah, I want to go to Vegas and check it out. Yeah, I've been to Vegas like a few times, but now because of that, I want to go. I would love to go to Vegas for like UFC 300 and to check that out.
Oh. Yeah, because you're a big UFC fan.
Yeah, big fan. Yeah. So, I mean, with a background in martial arts and stunt performing, it's kind of like, it's my favorite type of sport to watch,
Okay.
How about you? You like it? Or?
Never been much into fighting, but it's, I don't know why. My brother loves it. But being a young guy, trying to be a stand-up comic and listening to Joe Rogan, of course, you get sort of, not that I listen to every episode, I only listen if there's like a fun guest, but of course you get drawn into the whole, you pick up bits and pieces, and of course I've seen that you're big on jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I train jiu-jitsu.
Was that also, have you been influenced by that whole like comedians do jiu-jitsu and cold baths, or was it
I don't think so. I did martial arts like basically my whole life. So I was always doing like different forms of martial arts. And I remember my daughter turned like 5 and I was like, you know what, I started martial arts when I was 5, you should start martial arts. And then I took her to this jiu-jitsu place and then she did jiu-jitsu, and then I was talking to the coach. And he goes, oh, yeah, your daughter really likes it. And he asked me, he goes, have you trained before? I go, yeah, I've done some training. He goes, you want to train? I go, yeah, I'll come back and train. So then, like, my daughter was like, yeah, if I'm training, you should train. And then, like, I was like, all right, cool. And then I basically started because of that. Yeah. Which was like, that was like maybe 10 years ago.
And is that up at, because I have like a trial week at Frontline. It's where they give you like a couple of sessions just to try it out, and I still haven't gone, but I really want to go because I've heard that it's good for just like strengthening your back and like just having a healthy body. And I've had like back issues, so I need to.
Yeah,
I want to have a.
What's wrong with your back?
Nothing's wrong now, but I did what do you call like a deadlift, and then I have a long upper body.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think I've like trained it properly, like the supporting muscles.
Yeah. How tall are you?
194 in centimeters.
And how much do you weigh?
90.
Yeah. Okay.
88, 90.
Wow. Shit. So you're not too heavy for your height, actually.
No, I remember I actually like just peaked 100 kilos once.
Yeah.
And
Dude, were you like a lot more muscular then?
No, it was just we call it thin fat, like Jeremy Clarkson.
Yeah.
But no, after that, I deadlifted. It was actually on my birthday this week. I was down there because that's my gym.
Yeah.
Deadlifted, took like too many weights on, grabbed like that bar where it's like a square that you...
The hex bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And didn't use the upper handle, like the down handle. And then it wasn't even the first rep. And then suddenly something just like snapped in my back. I fell to the ground at the gym. People looking everywhere. I was just like, laying there, crippled and like trying to eel my way back here. And I even had to tell the other guys, like, you have to clean up after me.
Shit. You were fucked.
It wasn't as fucked as I felt right there and then. It fixed itself within like 4 days. But
was it on your lower back?
Yeah. So, and I've been to like chiropractors and physiotherapists, but basically the end of the story is just like strengthen your ass and your lower back. Do back exercises. Do butt exercises, and it'll fix itself.
Yeah. But I feel like that's kind of what you were in the right place doing it. You know,
yeah.
You were doing it, but you just maybe went a little too hard. Hey, I got a quick question for you. When you had the hex bar, you said you grabbed the lower handle. Where was the top handle?
Just like 8 centimeters above.
Oh, did you have to rotate it?
Because then it's upside.
Yeah, and then it's rotate it next time, so you don't have to go underneath the top handle. Yeah. Just rotate the hex bar.
Yeah, but I might have done that. It was just bad technique.
Yeah,
basically.
I see. Yeah.
So
how heavy were you lifting?
Not very heavy. Maybe 80 kilos. Maybe, I don't know. But it was just I don't know. And I've done more. I think I've done heavier lifts after that. Was just bad technique, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm like lifting weights, and I'm very, very. My like philosophy when it comes to lifting weights is that technique is more important than like how much I'm lifting. So I tried to do the perfect technique no matter how heavy or how light the weight is. So even if I'm just doing a warm-up with a 20 kilo barbell, I'm just focusing on getting the technique perfect. And if I get to a certain weight where the technique isn't perfect, I don't do it. So that's kind of like, I don't want to ever end up in a situation where I'm like, I'm gonna do something that's heavy, but I'm not doing it in the right way and end up injuring myself.
It was just like being young, being eager. Yeah. I was like on a really good workout streak. And I don't know if you've had this way, but I don't really care for the gym bro look that much. But when I got into like a good regime and did it often, suddenly those Gymshark t-shirts start to be appealing to me.
Hell yeah, bro. You gotta go online and order a couple of them.
Suddenly I want a belt and I want to have my shaker down there and everything.
I'm the opposite, man. I don't want anything.
No, I've fallen off it now.
Yeah,
good. But at that time,
I got you.
Like, I just felt, because I was like wondering why do they all love the same sort of style and look? Yeah. You get into the mentality and then you just like fall in.
Dude, I basically look like a homeless person when I'm at the gym.
This is the gym for you.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And sometimes I work out with like a buddy or two, and they are like the exact opposite. You know, they've got like gloves and like straps for their wrists, and they take like liquid chalk.
Okay, they're serious.
They're serious, but they're not like fucking, you know what I mean, like super athletes or anything. No. They're just dudes that like invest in brands.
Yeah.
And you know, and I sometimes I just come straight from fucking, you know, I don't have time to change. I'm like just wearing jeans and shit like that. So I don't give a fuck about anything like that. And when I get to the gym, I'm not even listening to headphones, man, most of the time.
Okay.
So I'm just like, I'm there and I'm like, okay, I need to just, this is like a time for me to reflect and just to be without distraction and then just like really focus on, you know, like what I'm doing right now. Be really present, because like I've been in the gym like so many times and I've seen people that are not paying attention at all, like dropping weights and not putting things back and like just in their own little bubble, like, oh, I'm in my own little bubble. And like this, this chick almost dropped a 20-kilo plate on me, and she had no idea she even did it because she was just so zoned out. And so if I'm going to the gym, I don't want to be zoned out, man. Like I just want to be like fucking fully present with what I'm doing. No distractions, nothing. Just the only thing I have is like maybe like a bottle of water. And I'm like, okay, that's it. Now this is the time where you get to like focus 100% of your energy just on like using your body. Don't distract your mind or anything like that.
But how good are you at sort of going full out, going 100%, like really wearing yourself out? Or do you always do it like fully? Because I often come back and feel like I could have sort of pushed it a little bit harder. Because every time I do that, every time I do 100% focus, it feels so much better relaxing afterwards.
Yeah. I mean, I never really like. I'm always pretty. I never really go 100%.
No, or about 99. Then have you?
Yeah. Like I don't know, man. I just kind of like I have like I'm always tired at the end of it, but sometimes I. If I can like, let's say if I could like deadlift 160 kilos or something. I'm usually not going to deadlift more than like 100 or 120. Yeah. Because I'm prefer to just do a little bit more reps than like fully max it out. And I don't know, maybe I should try to work out more. But I don't know. I don't know. I never really want to leave the gym and be like, oh my God, I was like, yeah, that was awesome. That was like a good 45 minutes. You did well. Okay, cool.
Yeah, because that's what
see you again tomorrow.
That's what I usually do. I do it every other day. But just watching a Norwegian TV show called 16 Weeks of Hell, which is like out of shape celebrities getting a former pro athlete training them.
Yeah.
They just did this routine that seemed very simple. And then I just went down there and did it, copied it. And it was just like exhausting. And then I came from a regime of doing weight exercises, and this is just like your own weight. This is just like push-ups, dips on a sort of on a bench, squats with no weights, and like Hungarian, that squat on one foot. There's things that like really hit your butt, so all the girls do it.
That's hard.
And then an ab exercise, and the whole thing is you're supposed to do 100 reps of each of them. You can divide it into 10 or 20. So it's like 20 push-ups, 20 sit-ups, 20 squats, 21 foot squats, and then dips. And then and after doing that, I like discovered like, oh, this is what being like really tired is. Holy shit. And then you can go down or up or add exercises. But it was just like coming from doing very isolated exercises to doing more general thing, and I felt way more tired, way more I don't think I'm gonna get as sort of bulky from it, but just like I felt way more functional.
Yeah, definitely. I understand exactly what you mean. Like during the pandemic, when the gyms were closed, I was just doing like calisthenics.
Yeah, that's what it's called. Yeah.
Wow. Dude.
Is that a Tuftepark?
Ja. Tuftepark. Jeg var på Tuftepark. Veldig, veldig slitsomt. Yeah.
That's a downside of a Tuftepark. You have to be pretty fit just to be able to do.
But, it was like the pandemic. So everybody was there. It was just like moms and kids and guys at the gym. And it was kind of like a pumping place. It was really, really, it was awesome. And, yeah, man, it was like, I was doing like, a lot of shit, man, like 50 pull-ups and 50 dips. I was basically doing 50? Something similar. Yeah, but not in a row. I was dividing it into like, I can't do 50 pull-ups.
I remember having that as a goal. If you sign up for a gym, you often get one like free PT personal trainer session.
Yeah.
He said like, what's your goal? I was like 20 pull-ups. It's like, how much do you weigh? I was like 95 kilos. He's like, you should lose weight. It's going to be way easier for you to reach the goal if you just lose weight rather than gain strength.
Yeah, I think that's
kind of disappointing to hear. But
did you get to it though?
No. But, but I don't do it that often. But if I have a leg day, I often do that at the end just because it's just fun to be able to do them. So now I maybe do like, I think 8, and then I do them properly. So I'm really pleased with that. I can't really ask for much more without seriously practicing it, doing it a lot.
Yeah, I think 8 is good.
Yeah, if I'm 90 kilos, what the hell? I've always had long, skinny arms.
Yeah.
So for me, just to do that, it's amazing. But have you always been a healthy guy?
Yeah, more or less. I think so. I've always been like, starting off as a stuntman, you're basically an athlete.
Yep.
So I was like always in pretty good shape, and then, just kept maintaining and training and everything like that. You go through phases where you're like, oh, I'm going to fucking just drink and party and shit like that. But I've always generally been in like okay shape. Yeah, more or less, I think it's important, man. And I like it. Like, I don't like the feeling of like, if I slide out, if I'm like just partying or drinking or taking drugs or like eating bad food, like I feel bad like quickly. So I try not to slip into those temptations too deeply.
There's a lot of drinking in Australia.
Yeah,
It's lot. Big.
Oh yeah. Almost as much as in Norway.
Yeah, you feel like it's more here?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, really?
I think so. I don't know. It's hard, man. It's, we're similar cultures, and we like celebrating with alcohol, and life is a celebration. So it's like Friday night, Saturday night, let's go. 17 de May, juleferie. Woo!
Oh, maybe you're right. Maybe we drink more here than I like to believe.
So people in Norway fucking throw down hard. Like, they throw down so hard. People in Australia throw down hard too. Yeah. But I mean, you're out. You see people all the time. Yeah. Like, we're having vorspiels. You're at a comedy club. People are getting fucked up. Everyone's getting drinks. It's a good time. It's like that in Australia as well.
Yeah, I don't get that much fucked up anymore. The last time I got like really drunk was a high school reunion, and you feel like shit the day afterwards. And
yeah,
so I had to tone it down a bit. My brain doesn't really deal well with being hungover.
No,
like the whole one thing is the physical thing, but for me it's a mental thing. I'm worn out, and I'm like nervous.
Yeah, it takes a while to get like to recalibrate. Yeah, to, like you're like.
So it's not. But I've always had that. I remember even like drinking as a 16-year-old, 17-year-old. I didn't really know what like fylleangst was, like nervous out. Like, what do you call that in English? Like, you have the shakes after you've been out for no particular reason.
Yeah, I don't know.
Didn't know what that was when I was like 17. I just replayed like awkward situations from last night in my head.
Yeah, that happens, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh fuck, what did I text?
And not until like a couple of years ago I've started to like, okay, you don't have to replay that 10 times. You can replay it once and be like, okay, not gonna think about that again.
Dude, there's still shit that like haunts me, that I close my eyes and go, fuck, no. You know what I mean? I just can't believe I said that, or I can't believe I did that.
Yeah.
You know what, like, especially like bad sets as well. Sometimes you do a bad set,
okay,
and you say something and the audience just goes no, and you're like, oh fuck, why did I say that?
That haunts you?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely haunts me. I try not to let it haunt me, but it's, it's subconscious. Ubevissthet. Yeah. It just kind of comes creeping in when you're like driving or walking to work or something. You're like, damn it. Ugh.
And there's this one sketch we did in high school too. It's so shitty and it's so awkward. And I remember being able to fall asleep like several years after. And then suddenly I'm like twist when I remember. Imagine doing that. We did it like 10 times in a row in front of like 300 people. I'm like, oh my god, it's just like, oh, it's so awkward.
Cringe.
And I came up with it. Oh my god.
Yeah. Another time you thought, this is awesome. We're gonna crush this. Yeah.
But how's your stand-up game nowadays? Because you've been.
It's good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
But you do it as. Have you started? You want to do it for a living? How are you on that? Where are you? You're starting to get paid, or how often do you do it? Is that a goal for you at all?
Yeah, it's kind of a goal. It's kind of a goal. But I just want to make sure that I do it in the right way for me. That's all.
And what's the right way for you?
I'm still kind of figuring that out, but I think what it is like it's putting on shows in different parts of the country or Europe and maybe the world, and just traveling and doing comedy and selling tickets, and maybe doing like a few private, jobben and stuff like that. But, it's at this stage, like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm just kind of, I'm just trying to still like figure out like the right path to get to where I want to go. And I don't want to just say yes to everything just because there's money.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? So I feel like I have more integrity towards the art form than I have a desire to just like make money.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think you're way ahead of me because I still just do it on a hobby basis. And I don't know if stand-up is like the arena that I'm gonna pursue and that's gonna be my thing, but I still think it's fun to do and love being the conferencier and doing improv and crowd work. I think that's a fun part. So I'm gonna host like comedy nights on a new spot that's gonna open here in January.
Yeah,
so you're
nice.
welcome to come there and
dude, congratulations.
I'm just like arranging it.
Yeah, but that's perfect. Yeah.
But that way I have a show each month.
Yeah. That's awesome. What night did you get?
Thursday.
Perfect.
Because they just told me pick one. Because they're gonna have I think they're gonna have like better shows with real professionals every once in a while. But they also want to just like where the bar isn't that high for new people. Just like at Løkka stand-up where we've been together.
Yeah.
The same thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's really good. You know, like I feel like comedy is the thing that I'm really attracted to. Like I'm really attracted to making people laugh, and I think like it's a really good feeling that you're experiencing and that somebody else is experiencing. And I think comedy is so much bigger than just stand-up. You know what I mean? Like, and that's like, you know, kind of like, you know, like doing other things within the realm of comedy, like really interest me. You know, like the sketches,
or you have all the norskkurs.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. Tell me about that.
Norskkurs is actually pretty funny because I just had some time and I made like 20 or 30 of these videos and I was just like, I'm just going to pump these out. And I pumped them all out and I was in Stavanger like maybe 3-4 weeks ago and I was on stage and then I started doing my act and then like these chicks from the audience are like, oh, I do not matmannen. I do not matmannen. And I was like, oh yeah, not matmannen. And that's like one of the videos that I did in norskkurs that like got a lot of views on TikTok. And it was crazy because it was like afterwards they kind of like it came up and we talked about it and they showed like her friend goes, what's not much? She goes, oh, it's from norskkurs. And then like she just pulled it up. It's this one. So yeah, I just that like the thing with like creating content is that like it becomes hard to produce if you get too many people involved and it's too complex. So norskkurs is just a fun way for me to make comedy that's really easy. So I think that's kind of important. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's just me explaining different Norwegian concepts and words with a comedic twist.
But it's I did the last year I had before starting this podcast, I working in Færetasjen wanted to move in front of the camera. I was like, I need to sort of just slowly build down my sort of level of embarrassment.
Yeah.
It's like being able to sort of, because I've always thought it was like awkward to like film yourself and do silly stuff. But I was like, but I want to do it. I'm at times too embarrassed. So I had a rule for myself. I'm going to make one like funny TikTok every day. Not always the funniest, but I just like to push myself. And some of them got like several 100,000 views and like some of them did really well. And it was just like a nice exercise to try to come up with something silly or funny every day and just like breaking down the barrier for myself to hold the camera, allow yourself to be silly and be that guy who does that. And that kind of like did a little bit wonders for sort of confidence and like allowing myself to, I can also be one of those guys. I don't have to be like a cool guy in the corner being like, oh, they're silly.
No, they're like that. The cool guys in the corner, they're not having fun.
Yeah, because then the key was just to keep the bar low.
Yeah.
Like
super low.
And
wow. So how many of these videos did you make?
Well, I did it from October to September, so 320.
Damn. Really?
Yeah, there were. It was everything, and something was like.
You did 320 TikTok. Yeah. You did one every day for almost a whole year.
Yeah, until I started this, because then these became the TikToks. like the clips from this thing. Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy. You did a video every day for like a year. I think that's good. I think that's good, man.
I think like professional content creators do like 4 a day. So
yeah, but they're fucking doing that like as the main thing, you know.
Yeah.
You're just
because it was sometimes I was like laying in bed and I was like, shit, I forgot to make today's video.
Yeah.
Then often it was like you could tell that he's forgot.
Yeah.
He came up with it late.
Did you see the most liked comment on Facebook? Did you see that?
In the world?
Yeah, in the world. Like recently, it was the most liked comment.
No, what is it?
It was this like, it's this like kind of like little chubby American kid, and he does like this thing called the push-up challenge, where he does like every day I do a push-up for 100 days, but I add an extra push-up for every day. So he starts with 1 push-up and then does 2, and then goes all the way to 100.
Yeah.
And then he goes, I'm gonna do the squat challenge, and the most liked video, whatever the most liked comment underneath this video, I'm gonna do it. And so some guy just writes like, okay, I need you to move to Thailand, live with the Thai people, learn the culture, start training Muay Thai, become a Thai boxing champion, and then like move to the UFC, have a UFC career, and then retire undefeated and say that this comment was a source of your inspiration.
Yeah.
And then it got like millions and millions and millions and millions of likes. And then, yeah, that was just the most liked.
Oh, really?
But yeah, it just reminded me. Yeah. You just reminded me of that when you're lying in bed and people are like, hey, where's the video today? You know?
No, I don't think people ask for it, which is like you can see it in the way I've done it, that this is the last minute solution.
And did you ever think, okay, I'm going to record like 3 videos today so I can like, if I chill, or was it more like every day I'm going to do one?
Sometimes I wrote down ideas, but the whole concept was to force yourself to think of something every day.
That's clever.
But I'm not going to recommend it to everyone because it's exhausting. And you're sitting like watching a movie with your girlfriends and like, the idea for today is, and then I have to pause everything and be like, need to get it out. Now it's this project that takes my time. But you said your dad was a stuntman. You mentioned Home and Away. Do you know that's a big show in Norway too?
Fuck yeah, bro. Season 30, 40, 42
Don't they make one episode a day?
Yeah, it's 5 episodes a week.
I haven't seen much of it. But
it's like TikTok. Just keep going. Flame and Galah. Surf Club.
And I've heard that even in Norway, they interviewed TV2, the head of the commercial channel in Norway, saying like, there's not that many viewers, but they're super loyal.
Yeah.
How's the following in Australia? I
think it's big, man.
It is?
I think so. But it's one of the shows that they export to probably 120 countries around the world.
Yeah.
So they didn't, if the following in Australia wasn't big, they're like, who cares? We got Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Japan, Mexico. People love it.
What's it about?
It's about a town. It's about like this small beach community.
Okay.
Nestled up against the beach.
But did they change the main characters?
Yeah, dude. Honestly, I think it's like it must seriously be like season 38 now or something. Like it's crazy how many seasons they've done. Yeah. So yeah, they changed the main characters, but I think there's a couple of that are like lifers, you know, that like sentenced to die there. So they're not going to get anything else. You know, you've been house steward for 38 years. Yeah. You know, you're stuck with that character.
It's like we had Hotel Cæsar in Norway.
Yeah. Hotel Cæsar.
How long have you lived here?
15 years.
And the reason for coming was...
I was an exchange student because I was dating a Swedish girl.
Okay.
Yeah. And then she lived and worked in Oslo. So she let's just go to Oslo. And then I just came to Oslo.
From Sydney?
Yeah, from Sydney. I was going to... so I was studying at the time as well. So then I got an exchange program. And then I came to Norway. Yeah.
And just stayed?
Yeah, I got a girl pregnant about a year later. So I came to Norway, didn't work out with the Swedish chick. And then I met this other chick. And then, you know, one thing led to another. And then she got pregnant.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to be a dad to this little girl.
Yeah.
And she needs a dad. So I could go back to my life in Australia and just see you later. I'll send you like some selfies later on.
Yeah.
But I just didn't feel like that was the right thing to do, you know?
No.
So, like, if you are a good person and you want to be like not a good person, because people have their own reasons for doing things, but I felt like it would be wrong for me to let a child grow up without a dad. And if I had to sacrifice my country so that she could get a dad, I thought that was probably the right thing to do. I studied a lot of philosophy as well, and like in university I was doing philosophy and literature, so like I understood a lot about like ethical choices, and also my intuition was just telling me that like this is what you should be doing.
You're a big thinker? You think a lot?
Yeah, dude, I think a lot. Absolutely. I mean, the world is so fascinating. How could you not engage mentally into everything that's happening? There's so many like different things that you could like go down endless rabbit holes on, as long as you find them interesting. Yeah. So how about you?
I try to think less. I've always been like a guy who spends a lot of time thinking, but I've just like I've read a couple of books lately where I just understand that and maybe that's not the same as thinking, but like grubbling, like dwelling on things and not understanding that I am dwelling. Like just like we talked about, replaying awkward things that have happened and just being like, oh, well, it's done. You don't have to think about it that much more. Yeah. And I don't think it was until like 3 years ago where I understood that like you don't have to spend that much time doing that. Yeah. Because I didn't know I was doing it. Yeah. I was just walking around doing my day, and then suddenly like awkward clips started playing. So right now I'm trying to like think less, or at least just like don't dive into the thoughts that make me feel like awkward. And
yeah, but I think that's different than because you're deciding not to think about things that don't produce a feeling of well-being. Yeah. You don't want to think about, I fucked up, or I shouldn't have said that. Yeah. But if you find like, are we living in a simulation? Oh, that's interesting. Or are we like, what's going on with like fucking Palestine and Israel? Or what's the history there? Oh, that's interesting. So there's a lot of things that like I choose to actively engage my thinking in. And I go, what's happening with the economy? Well, how did we end up with this super high inflation? Yeah. So then I'll spend Yeah, right. So that's the shit that I'm like kind of like spending time thinking about and researching basically. Yeah. Because it interests me. Like we're living in this like really unique point in history now where it definitely feels like something is happening. All around the world there's a sense of tension, and there's a change in like people everyone's got less money. There's more conflicts than ever. Like how the fuck did we end up here? How can we avoid it? What can we do to maintain happiness and spread peace? What can we do to be better to each other? How can we all get through this?
So, do you feel like we're on I think like things are getting worse and worse?
Man, I think like, I think emotion spreads. And I think like if you're in a comedy club and it's a good vibe and your neighbor doesn't think it's funny, and then you start laughing, and then it spreads to him. And I think that we're like that now, just with tension and fear. Okay. I think that like definitely people all around the world are having problems paying their mortgages. I feel like people are having problems like, just getting by day to day because everything costs more. And then I think that there's obviously problems in, between countries and conflicts and stuff like that. Dude, it's crazy, man. Like now it's like fucking, we've got a full-blown war 1,000 kilometers to the east, with like Russia and the Ukraine, and now you got a full-blown fucking basically genocide 3,000 other kilometers away, or whatever the fuck it is. And I just feel like people that make money from conflict, or people that don't have a lot of hope, or when kind of everything gets to this point of like, fuck it, you know what I mean? then shit pops off.
I agree with, of course, the wars are not a sign that things are going well, but I've also read or heard somewhere that there's nothing more humane than it's very human to believe that the world's going to end in about 50 years. That's always been like implanted in the human mind that we're getting close to the end. That's always been a thought, as long as people have been able to write down their thoughts. So... And my brothers also often talks about like things are like getting worse now, and I'm like, I agree that things are like pretty shitty at times, and there's a lot of not good things. But hearing that it's very typical, it's very human to believe just to agree with that thought, because there's always been, of course, now maybe the wars are a bit more heavy, especially what's going on in Gaza and Ukraine. But there's always been people who always wanted more money. And if you look at like isn't that what that Swedish statistics guy, Hans Rosling, he's dead now. Yeah, did like people believe that people in Bangladesh they're having more kids than ever, and the reality is no, they're actually not. It's a lot of birth control, and things are actually on a global scale going a little bit better than what a lot of people think.
Yeah, maybe things on a global scale are getting better.
I definitely get the vibe you're talking about, because I also see like the signs and you hear it everywhere. But I think it's good to try to distance myself and think in the 70s in Norway, you weren't allowed to drive a car on certain days because there was a lack of oil. If that happened now, I'll be like, the world is ending, fuck!
Yeah.
Yeah, so we progressed from that.
Yeah, no, I definitely acknowledge that the world has gone like in the right direction in many different ways. But I also see that like it's, like, man, I kind of think that there is a degree of tension now, and I don't think that the world is going to end. But I do think that like there could be an escalation in conflict in certain areas. And I do think that like now we have like such advanced military weapons and so many people that are in charge of these intercontinental ballistic nukes, which are totally mentally unstable. Yeah. So like 50 years ago, you didn't have Kim Jong-un with fucking an arsenal of nuclear weapons. You didn't,
weren't people scared as hell of the Russians? I know that a lot of Norwegians had like nuclear fear.
Yeah, I think they had nuclear fear, definitely.
And now it's back.
I think it's back. I think it's back, man.
But I just heard from people in my dad's generation and younger than that, they were actually often, and there's a famous radio guy in Norway saying that when he was on like scout camp, he often saw like clouds in the distance, and he always believed it was like a nuclear mushroom. And I don't know how many 10-year-olds fear that on a constant, like on a weekly basis still. So there's always been, and I remember as a kid, I was scared as hell because the sun was going to swallow the earth in 2 billion years. I remember crying from it.
Yeah, you don't really want people to panic. You don't want them to panic. But no. I mean, like, I remember like maybe a year and a half ago, like I had to sign this form for my kid to take yod at school in case there was like a nuclear fallout. Yeah. So, like that shit, I mean, I'm 44 now, and I've never felt like this in the 44 years of my past. And I really do think that like tensions are escalating because you have like this fucking crazy asshole, with maybe blood cancer who's losing a war in the Ukraine, and then you have NATO on this side. And if you have a look at the world as divided up into different civilizations, it does feel like there's like these forces which are kind of clashing. You know what I mean? And like if you take like the whole Israel-Palestine thing, for example, it is like, it kind of feels like it's this like bigger, like it's kind of like this.
Feels like it's ending now. Like what happens now is going to change stuff.
Yeah. But what I was going to say was like, it feels like that whole region is about something bigger. Do you know what I mean? Like if you have a look at like where Israel is, it kind of, it separates Northern Africa from the Middle East geographically. Okay. So it's like this point of like American influence surrounded by Muslim countries, kind of keeping them apart in a way. Like it's a choke point from like North Africa and the Middle East. And it's just like this place that serves Western interests. And like there's all these people in like the military industrial complex that make so much money out of conflict and by sending all this money to Israel. So I feel like there's like forces greater than just the Israeli people and the Palestinian people, which want this to kind of continue for their own, means, whatever those means are. So that's kind of like one thing that I think about. Yeah. And I go, you know what? I feel like, because, you see these like images on like the newspaper and on the internet and stuff like that. And you just think like, what a fucking pointless waste of life. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? Why are you guys doing this? You're basically, neighbors. You look identical. And if you zoom out and you look at planet Earth from like the perspective of being in the galaxy, you're like, why the fuck are you guys killing each other about some, it seems pointless, man. You know, so that's the kind of thing that like I think about like why people in 2023 are still engaging in like the pointless loss of life when there seems to be like a more peaceful option that people should be available to take.
Yeah.
And then the fact that they're not taking this peaceful option makes me think that there's forces, big, large forces that want this conflict to kind of continue in a particular direction.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's kind of...
I get what you mean.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's that hard to find proof that people who own stocks and big like weapon manufacturing make a lot of money when there is a war or when the tension in the world is higher.
That's fucked up. It should be the opposite. People should lose. Like, I know they're making money by selling weapons and stuff like that, but it just feels like you're killing people for money, basically.
Yeah. But I think they just brand it as security or defense or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah, it's fucked, man. I hate the whole thing.
Well, we have in Norway, we have Kongsberg weapons. It's a kind of a big, I don't know how big on a global scale, but we in Norway has a couple of weapon producing things.
Yeah, Kongsberg. Don't they make like guidance chips for drones and
the
bullets and stuff as well?
I don't know everything about Kongsberg, but they have something called Kongsberg technology, which is what you said, like gets the missile to where it needs to be. And probably a lot of other stuff. I know that we have a friend of mine worked at Nammo, which is just like Norwegian ammunition.
Yeah.
And remember, there's a like NRK legend he's dead now, but his name was Erik Bye. And he did a lot of traveling documentaries, and it was in Africa during some civil war. And the whole day they were being shot at, and they were just hiding out in these like bunkers or on the other side of like the other side the whole day, and they stopped firing, and the people shooting is like escaped further south, and then they could progress, and then they came into their sort of base and discovered that the bullets they've been using, it said Raufoss ammunition, or the people shooting at him had been using Norwegian bullets.
Oh my god!
That was a bad English there for a while, but still like the irony of that.
Yeah,
like, hiding from bullets made in your own country.
Yeah, fuck that.
Holy crap! Shit. But let's. I'm gonna see, because I made some pointers here today. You know.
Yeah. Dude, make some pointers. Can I just grab another glass of water?
Yeah, sure.
I can grab it.
I'll have some more coffee too, so I'll just cut this 10 seconds out.
Big size flask, man. I respect it.
Oh, thanks. I've these flasks. My girlfriend had one, and suddenly I ordered 3 online.
Yeah. I've got one as well. I got a pink one.
Yeah, you're on the Hydro Flask wave?
Yeah, I had a black one and I lost it because I could never find it. It's so dark. And then I got like a kind of green camouflage one. And then I lost that as well. I was like, you know what? I need to get the brightest color that I can always see and never forget. So I got this bright pink one. And I have had that for like 3 years now.
I think this is also 3 years old, but the trend of... thermo products, at least in Norway, it goes in waves. Because I remember maybe 5-6 years ago, there was something called Swell. These a little bit more slicker bottles.
Yeah.
And then I discovered these through my girlfriend, and then now I know Yeti. Yeti's it's the new trending thing.
Yeah, okay.
It's all the same.
Yeah.
It's all isolating bottles, but
the
brand changes, and I believe it, and I want the new thing.
Go for it. But you got 3 of them.
Yeah, I have. I'll show you because this is like half a liter, I think. And I have the big pink liter, and I'll show you something.
Nice. Yeah, I want to see. Maybe it's 2 liters, 4 liters.
Look at this thing.
Oh shit! Look at that bad boy. Let me dude, I'd feel like a man holding this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the big white one, and
you don't fuck around with this, bro.
But
it's only 1.9 liters. Damn.
Not more.
I would have guessed it was like 4 or something. Damn.
I think I've only used it like 8 times.
Dude, you should just take it to the gym. Fill it with pre-workout.
But if you fill that's like the test of manhood, filling that thing full of water and just drinking with one hand, because like people don't have hands big enough, and you probably do, but the wrists are like.
Dude, I got great wrist strength from years of jerking off. I can handle this hydro flask. It's a bit bigger, but you get the idea. I'm gonna put that there.
Yeah, do it. I suddenly just fell in love with them, and.
Dude, they're cool. It's cool. Great design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see on what I wanted to.
Bro.
You brought up the team yoga.
Yeah.
Are you a yogi guy?
I actually just started getting back into yoga today for the first time in 2 years.
Also, you already worked out today.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've been awake since 4 o'clock in the morning.
Really?
Yeah, dude. It's too early. Yeah.
Because you're a kid or what?
No, I just fell asleep last night at like 9 o'clock, and then I just woke up at like 4, and I was like, all right, fuck, I'm awake.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then I went to yoga this morning. I'm gonna go to a sauna after this as well, so I'm gonna have like a day in the heat. I did some hot yoga.
Oi.
Yeah, but dude, are you a yoga? Do you practice yoga?
I've done yoga a couple of times here at because they have like a session there at Fresh.
Yeah, nice.
Like it, but haven't sort of really been bitten by it yet. But I just believe that having like a functional body, being able to touch your toes, of course, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
When did you get into it?
Dude, I actually started getting into it like maybe 15, 16 years ago, and then I practiced like all that time more or less. And then my yoga studio closed down during the pandemic. Just after the pandemic, like we came out of it like last year, or whatever it was, and then they went bankrupt. And all the like the electricity prices.
Oh yeah, last year.
Yeah, so it was hot yoga, so they had to like heat it up a lot, and so they kind of, I don't know, man, they just they had to make the prices more expensive for the memberships, and then people couldn't afford that. And, it was one of those vicious cycles.
Oh, okay.
So then I kind of did like a few things here and there, and I actually injured, I don't know whether you know this, but I injured my knee a few months ago, so I tore my meniscus, so I just have to be careful with that.
Okay.
And then I went to the doctor like a couple of weeks ago, and she said, yeah, you can start getting back into yoga now. So that's why I'm basically getting back into yoga now. But I loved it today. It was fucking epic, man.
And how hot is it? Is it the same as Bikram yoga?
Yeah, nah, it's not. It's like this. It's not that hot. It's not hot at all. But Bikram yoga is usually like 36 degrees or whatever it is.
Wasn't the Bikram guy, didn't it turn out that he was like a crazy molester guy?
Yeah, dude, he was just raping bitches. What an asshole.
But the brand Bikram yoga is still advertised and it's going well. Where is
I don't think it's going well. They changed the name a lot. Now they call it 26+2.
Okay.
Yeah, so it turns out that Bikram guy was a total piece of shit. And not only was he like sexually assaulting his students, but he stole that whole routine. So it's not his routine. He just basically branded it. So like that 26+2 series of poses has existed for like thousands of years.
Yeah.
And he just blew it up in the West. He went to California and like started this teacher training program, and then people went all around the world, and then they started up a franchise essentially with the Bikram name, just like McDonald's. So then like now after he kind of got exposed in the last like 5 or 6 years, now they're like changing their names to just like, instead of Bikram Studio, just like Hot Yoga, 26+2.
Okay.
That's kind of what they call the class now. But yeah, man, that was but that's what happens with people, right? Like they get so much like power. They really start believing all the success, and then they just turn into, that's like, Bill Cosby, fucking Harvey Weinstein, this Bikram asshole. So
I love how, and myself included, if there's anything like that you can like build with a good story, like this is an ancient Indian thing that's existed forever, and it's these 4 principles, and it's so good and natural. I'm like, yes, of course, it's the solution. I'm like, I'm there like a classic sort of basic girl. I'm just like, I'm on it. Yeah, that's the new thing.
Sign me up.
Yeah,
I'm all in. Yeah.
And then it goes like a year or two, and everyone's like, it's done. It's over. It's a new thing now.
Turns out it's some new shit. But I get it, man, because people we ride hype trains. Where like so much energy gets behind an idea, and you're like, I'll take it. Woo, Bikram yoga. Woo, crypto. Woo, NFTs.
Yeah.
Like you just jump on them all because everybody's talking about it. We're all getting rich. We're all getting super healthy. Oh my god, I'm gonna have a kale shake.
I just think it's charming how we sort of always fool ourselves.
Yeah, it's easy.
It is easy
because you want to believe.
We want to believe that
we
just found the solution.
Yeah, this is it.
Yeah,
this is it.
As long as I do this,
yeah,
it's fine.
But like I saw this video about this woman that produced like artificial flavoring in foods. Yep. And, like stuff that like goes in like ultra processed foods that have like a high amount of sugar and like fat and palm oil and all that kind of shit. And she was saying that like one of the reasons that people end up buying that stuff is because they just want it to not be bad, even though they know it's bad. Like if you bought a Snickers bar, people trick themselves into thinking like, oh, it's not that bad. It's not. They don't look. If you look at like the ingredients list and then you see like all the preservatives and like the sugar values and all the content, you go, oh my god, that's fucking bad. Yeah. But she was saying that like people are just ignoring looking. So like they would have by law that have to print like what was inside of the food, and she's just gonna like people just don't want to know. Oh. It tastes good. Fuck it, we're gonna eat it. Yeah. So that's the weird thing about humans, man, is that we're self-delusional. Like I think in Norwegian you have this thing called like a livsløgn. Yeah. You have the livsløgn. Like what's your livsløgn? And everybody has their livsløgn where they like just delude themselves into this particular type of action or behavior because it's just soothing, it's comforting. Like, yeah, my livsløgn. Yeah. But the livsløgn is a really interesting concept because like when you start thinking about like people that that are kind of like self-delusional or trick themselves, they need the livsløgn. And if you like hold a mirror up exposing the livsløgn, they end up hating you and they resent you because you can't shatter this fragmented version of reality that they've created in their own heads. So you have to be like real careful about like, I had this one friend and he used to always think that like every single girl that he met was in love with him. And like he would like, we'd go to like a restaurant or something and like the waitress would just take our order and be like, yeah, she wants to fuck me. And I'm like, no, dude, she doesn't want to fuck you. This is her job. And like he was like, we would have videos of him like cornering girls in nightclubs where he's holding his arms out and they can't get away. And we'd show him and we'd be like, see, this is what you did. And he goes, nah, man, she was into it. And we go, look at the body language. Look at the video. And no matter like what you showed them, that you couldn't. The livsløgn was so strong. What's your livsløgn?
I don't know. It's the only thing that I'm thinking sort of feel like I'm that gnaws on my sort of mind a bit is I want to do some sort of entertainment or comedy for a living, and just like I always try to find up new excuses why I haven't sort of been able to break through or make it yet. And I think the truth is just like because you'd have to have endurance, put in the work, and put yourself out there for a long period of time without losing faith or having that stamina. And I haven't been able to have that stamina for a long enough period of time, and maybe I just like blame other circumstances, I can blame other people, or feel like no, I should have gotten that job or that thing. So, and I'm just slowly really realizing that it's sort of I don't deserve it more than anyone else, and I just have to put the work in and show the stamina, and then most people that make it do deserve it because of the work they put in. And if I want to make it, I also have to put the work in. And
what do you do now that you don't do Tasha?
Now I do this and just apply for jobs.
Oh, so you're arbeidsløs?
Oh, I call it freelance just to make it look pretty. Yeah.
Yeah, also arbeidsløs.
What? I thought you had your own recording company.
Yeah. But I've been fighting with that.
So that's because I checked out your LinkedIn profile just to see if I thought you'd worked in Moods of Norway, and it just says legend.
Yeah.
I should put that too, so people know that he's doing well.
Yeah, legend.
He's a fucking legend,
dude. You know what? I fucking hate LinkedIn. Yeah. And on my like arbeidstitle it says legend, and then about me it says if you use LinkedIn, you're a fucking loser. Oi, you know it's true, bro.
I didn't read that part.
Yeah. That's the part. I hate LinkedIn. I hate it. I think like
I'm never on there. I just
exactly. It's so gross. It's like this social networking thing for like businesses. It's like
I have it just so that in case people want to check me out, but I don't think I've ever used it apart from trying to find people's emails so that I can send them. Because I wanted to get in touch with someone who owns this brand.
Yeah. I get it.
But my buddy loves LinkedIn. He's in the startup industry. He loves it. He's on there all the time, sharing. It's still a social media where like bragging is just like 100% okay.
Yeah.
It's like, we just did this with this company and a bunch of buzzwords.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah. Listen, if you're in the corporate world or you're trying to like get money to build a startup, and I get it.
Yeah.
It for me as like a comedian slash mongoloid, I think it's gross, man.
Yeah.
I hate wearing a suit. I hate the corporate world. You know what I mean? Like everything, like all these fucking companies just trying to get money.
Yeah.
I fucking hate it. And so I get that they got to do that, and that's fine. But I don't want to have any part of that. I just want to like work on the Inia James brand. I just want to do shit that I like. I want to spend my time doing things that I want to do. Like you know, I feel like that's like... I don't want to suck on the corporate dick and have to have a LinkedIn profile with me standing like this with a fucking suit on. You know what I mean? Doing a job that I secretly hate.
I've my view on that is different, and maybe it's now because it's where I work closed down. Like this summer, they shut the project down. In the beginning, I'm like, I'm gonna make it on my own, and then slowly, certainly, like, oh well, maybe it's nice to have a job with colleagues and a coffee machine and something to do on an everyday basis. But when I get into that mentality, I'm like, I want to break free. I don't want this, because I've had worked as a communications advisor, and they were nice people. It was sort of corporate, just like bragging about different projects here and there. But what made you sort of tired of that image? Have you ever? Because I thought you did. I thought you had like a production company of. Where
closed it all down.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're tired of it, or what happened?
Man, I just like want to pursue things that like my self-expression now, like my forms of artwork. Like I've spent years developing videos and like concepts for like other companies and other brands and stuff like that. And then in the end, all that is really doing is just like pushing this sales agenda, like generating clicks so that somebody can buy a new fucking hydro flask. You know what I mean? I just felt like I didn't want to dedicate my energy towards, you know, fucking keeping the corporate wheels going around. It felt like it was if I died today and I looked back, what did you produce of, you know, that contributed to humanity? It just feels like a lot of the stuff that I was making was just like internet pollution. You know, stuff that you pop up in your Instagram feed as a sponsored post and you're like, fuck this. You know what I mean? So at a certain point, like I kind of shifted to being like really anti-advertising.
Okay.
To like really anti-marketing. Like really more like pro like art and less pro commercialism. And that's where I'm at now, you know.
Okay.
So I'm like, I don't give a fuck about like selling anything. All I want to do is like tell my stupid jokes and make dumb videos.
Yeah, but that is the dream life.
That's it.
But in my what's eventually now I feel more and more like stressed. Like, should I've been doing something more? And I'm applying jobs now, so it'll probably fix itself.
Don't apply for jobs, man. Fuck it.
You said don't apply for jobs?
So what do you want a job for?
Some of them are fun. At least one of them I applied for is like, that's actually it's a cool thing. I've done similar things before, and that was the best job I had probably.
Will you be performing?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not performing. It's a journalist part, but you get to do a lot of fun stuff and you get to put yourself in it, and we'll see how it goes. Maybe they don't even want me for the job, so we'll see.
Okay, but that sounds good. If you're like doing a performative thing, then that's very good.
And that's actually a lot of what I'm discussing, both with myself and with friends and my girlfriend, is because you can have like I did in NRK, which is where you make like pretty fun entertainment, and the limits are basically not there. You can do what you want with a limited budget, but the ideas can live freely. but I'm still behind the camera and I'm not sort of in it myself. But you can be a lot of journalist jobs. It's about you. You can use your own voice. You can make the little news stories or the radio portraits, and you can involve yourself a lot and shape it a lot yourself. So suddenly you're more in it, and you get to sort of own the product yourself a lot more than when you're just behind. Even though maybe what I'm making when I'm just behind is more funny, then it's not that much me.
Who's making it then? If you're in front of the camera, somebody else.
You often have a photographer. Where especially in radio, you voice the things yourself, and you can put your twists on it. Even just writing some of the news articles I've written, you get to color it a lot yourself, and maybe not include yourself, but you really shape it and you create it, and it's your name on it, and it's.
Okay.
So I'm still figuring out like how important is it for me to be that I'm the product? Is that just a selfish, childish thing?
That's I'm always on the side of you should be the product.
You're on that side?
I'm on that side.
Yeah.
I'm on the don't do anything behind the camera. Spend all of your energy being in front of the camera.
Yeah.
That's the side that I'm on. Because I mean, you have so many people that don't want to perform that can be behind the camera. And if you're a performer, I think you should just 100% put all your eggs in the performing basket if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes like it's easy to have this like plan B, and I'm going to do this, and I get to edit a little bit, and I get to. But if it takes away from like the goal of like performing and like doing what you really want to do, I say fuck it.
You're talking to me now. You know, this is exactly what thoughts are going through my mind these days. So this is good that you're.
Yeah, I'm like pro take the chance and believe in yourself. Like I'm pro like whatever the thing is that you tell people about and they kind of laugh at and they go, you can't do that. I'm like, that's the thing. That's the one.
Well, that's what this project kind of is.
Yeah.
But how did you come to that mentality? You always been like that, or is it?
No, man. I was the opposite. Like I started like I took the other chance. I took the other side. I took the money. I took the short money. I took the commercial money. So like when I started my business, I was making like short films. I made like a sci-fi film. I made like a drama film.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right. All right. I got sponsorship from like a couple of like fonds to produce like art. Basically, like movies. And then I did that, and then it wasn't long after that then people said, hey, can you film this, and we'll pay you, we'll film this. And then I kind of got seduced into the money. I got like, oh fuck yeah, okay, cool, all right, yeah, we're gonna make 100,000 kroners in like 3 days, let's do it. And then I just followed that, and then I kind of got consumed into. But I also was like, I was 28 at the time, and I had a pregnant girlfriend, and I had no job, so I needed the money. But then I kind of just walked down this like commercial path for like 12 or 13 years, where I was just making content, big brand, big invoice, money. And then at a certain point, like when I started like doing more performing and more comedy, I realized that like I either have to pursue one of them or the other 100%, or neither of them are going to succeed. So I was at a parallel. I was at like a turning point, and I go, do I really want to just keep making stuff for other people where the star of the show is a barbecue, or you know what I mean, like, or a pulsar or something?
Yeah.
Or do I want to try and pursue art and move in the direction of like comedy? So then, like I said, okay, well, I'm gonna like focus 100% on performing comedy. So that's the point that I'm at now.
Yeah, I'm on the crossroads now, so I'm still deciding, figuring it out. But I'm 29, so I have time to try and fail a couple of times, I feel.
Exactly. That's the thing. And we live in Norway. So it's like, this is the best place to try and fail.
Yeah.
You know? So that's why I'm always like, because, you know, I know a lot of other people that are like, what should I do? Should I focus more on this? Or I could just focus on the thing that you really love. Like whatever that is, you know, if that's comedy, if that's performing. But I also understand that, like, how long have you not had a job for?
Only since August.
Oh, that's not too long.
No.
And you've been pretty busy with the podcast.
Yeah. But I like to be productive though. I like to stay busy.
Yeah. That's important.
Just keeps just like having something to do, having something, rushing a bit out of bed, getting something, being excited about something. Really, I feel like that's better for me, my mental state.
What's your long-term goal? Like, what do you want people to remember you by?
I want to make like travel shows for TV.
Perfect. You should do that. Wow. Why don't you do that then?
It's just hard to get the funding to do it.
Yeah. How many TikTok followers did you get?
Not a lot, just a bit over 1,000. But that's why I'm trying to like build a little bit of an audience here, getting professional people to realize, okay, he actually can do this part, and then just go do it. And I want to do like a road trip with like a camera crew to like Oregon, see what's it like there. Go to Australia, see what it's like there. Just go around the world and like see exciting stuff and make TV shows about it.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do.
That sounds perfect. That's a great thing to do.
A lot of like, Mexican cave diving and stuff.
Yeah.
I love everything that involves water, and I have a big fascination and a fear of sharks. So I really want to do a show where like discover like my fear of deep water and sharks and animals in the ocean. I want like the peak to be diving with the white sharks in like either a cage or without the cage, because I've seen people do it without the cage as well. That could be like the finale episode.
Hey, I'm from Australia. Use the cage, bro. That shark's gonna fuck you up.
Yeah, so watch a show about the abalone divers. Have you heard of those?
No.
They're diving for like some seafood shell.
Yeah.
And where there's a lot of these shells, there's also a lot of great white sharks.
Yeah, okay.
So they always have to be on alert.
Yeah.
And they have to warn each other, all the divers. And the water is kind of like not that clear there. So suddenly it's right where you are. And when they go back up after being down diving for like an hour, you have to have like a stop of like 20 minutes on the way up. You can't just go straight up, because your body has to something with oxygen in your blood and stuff.
Yeah.
So then they have like a 20-minute period where you just have to be in the middle of the water, just like waiting, and they know they're in like great white shark territory.
Yeah, you got to do a safety stop at like 3 meters deep usually, and that's probably like the cruising depth for a lot of sharks.
The sharks attack from underneath, so as long as they're on the bottom, they're fine.
Yeah. But then at 3 meters. But dude, you're gonna do a travel show. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Isn't that like a perfect thing for you to do?
Yep.
Yeah.
But I've working in an arcade, which is it's a great place, and they make a lot of fun content. But in all the pitching rounds where we suggest shows, I've just witnessed all these great ideas just being like shuffled away, ending up with nothing, and not just my ideas, like other people's ideas. So then you get kind of hopeless and be like, well, this is fucked. This is rigged.
Did they put Jonas Yusuf's idea on hold too? He wanted to do the battle royale with NRK, and they said we're interested later.
And so many people have great ideas, and I don't really blame anyone. There's just like there's a limited things that can be made because of budgets, because of there's a lot of content out there already. But we'll see. Maybe I'll hire someone to just film me on my trips, and I'll make it myself. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, the thing when you told me about that, the show that I thought of was Dexpedition, which was like 12, 13 years old.
Yeah.
And that was, Tobias Freistad.
Were you involved in that?
No, but I'm friends with Tobias.
I remember the video guy, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He's Yoni Ko's son.
Oh, really?
Yes. He's Andrea's brother.
Yeah, I don't know her that well. I've only met her like once, but he was also like a TV guy back then. He was like on a after school show for like teenagers.
But anyway, they made that show like in 2009, 2010 or something like that. And it was massive. And that was on VG TV. That was probably one of the first shows on VG.
Yeah.
And they did 2 seasons, I think. And then that's it, man.
Yep.
No more. Like, I can't think of a Norwegian travel show. Come to think of it,
they have one which like it's where this guy who's like a sports comedian guy does like crazy sports abroad now. They went to New Zealand and did all this kind of crazy stuff. So there is some, but even in NRK, I pitched like some of these ideas to one of the guys up in management. He was like, you know, we're kind of tired of the whole around the world thing. Maybe we can do it around Norway. And I was like, I'm not going to let that sort of be the deal breaker, but it was just kind of like, you always get like, ugh, they hate all the ideas I
Yeah,
pitch to them.
There's this like stoic concept of not telling people your plans. You know what I mean? Like there's this like, and I know that kind of goes against when you're having to pitch to somebody, because that's the whole point of pitch, is telling them the plans. But the concept is like, just show people, like just don't tell people your plans, just work until you have something ready. Yeah, because the whole kind of idea is that like a lot of the times, like when you tell people your plans, if they're like slightly negative, you kind of like, it affects your ability to want to execute that, or somebody else's belief in the project, it might be negative and yours is positive, and you kind of like you absorb a little of this like negativity into the idea. That's why when like people tell me their plans, I'm always trying to be like super 100% positive, because it's like if you told me that like you wanted to make a travel show with a comedian, I would watch that show. I think that's fucking good. And somebody else that's thinking about it's like, oh man, we gotta pay for it, and I'm tired of this, and it's their perspective. You know what I mean? So I always like, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty good at like telling people some plans, but I often keep some plans to myself as well. But like if you want to do a travel show, I think that's a fucking great thing to do.
Yeah,
of course. And you don't even really, I mean, to start with, I mean, you don't even really need a camera crew or anything like that. You should just try to like do it on like by yourself next time you go somewhere.
Yeah.
You know,
that's a good idea.
Why not? I mean,
yeah, but that is the thing what I told you with TikTok, just getting used to that I'm in front, just breaking down the barrier, being used to that what I'm saying is the fun part.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But Australia is a place I would like to. I've been there once.
When were you there?
Go 4 years ago maybe or something. Went to Sydney, a bit Melbourne.
Such an American.
How do you say it?
Melbourne.
Yeah. I love Australia.
Dude,
really fascinated by the whole thing. I want to go to. Is it called Alice Springs as well? Yeah. Have you been there?
I've been there.
What's that like? The casino town in the middle of the...
Dude, I didn't see any casinos, man. I thought
it was a casino town.
It might be, but I didn't see any of that. Okay. I was there like a long time ago when I was a little kid. I just saw like a lot of desert.
Yeah.
Went to the Ayers Rock.
Yeah.
Went on a camel. You know.
Yeah, got camels there as well, of course.
Yeah, dude. There's camels.
I just love Australia, and Australians are always so friendly.
Yeah.
When I went to Southeast Asia, all Australians are always welcoming.
Yeah.
So they're great fun, and all you got like huge jawlines. Is that like a genetic thing, or what's up with that?
I don't know, dude. Maybe.
Have you noticed?
No, I haven't noticed.
Okay, maybe it's just the few people. I
only remember them. Fucking jacked Aussies, man.
Yeah.
So you just don't fucking.
You seem to have a great body for rugby. Did you ever play that?
Oh yeah. Dude, I played rugby, bro. Dude, I used to fuck up kids.
But do kids play it, or when you start playing it?
No, man, you start playing when you're like little. You start playing when you're like 6 or 7.
Okay.
Yeah, it's brutal. And then I went to a boarding school in New Zealand. So I went to an all Maori boarding school.
Oh.
I'm half Maori, so I went to an all Maori boarding school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we used to play rugby against like all Samoan boarding schools, or all Tongan, or all Fijian.
Okay.
That was brutal. Like these big fucking kids that look like The Rock, just smash.
The Pacific Islanders. Yeah, they get big.
Huge. Dude, they're so big, bro.
So, but you're actually from New Zealand then?
Yeah, my dad's Maori and my mom's Australian. So that's how I ended up in a Maori boarding school.
Okay.
And then I played rugby there. And then when I was back in Australia in high school, I played rugby too.
Because the rugby, there was just a Rugby World Cup. And I watched 2 games. Because I played it as an exchange student in England.
Yeah.
So I don't remember all the rules, but I remember some of it. And those guys, man, their physique.
Yeah.
What the hell? Like their necks.
Yeah. There's no necks.
They're just like, and I'm like, does senior rugby exist, or are they just like after 40 you can't play, you're done?
No, it exists. It's called Golden Oldies.
Is it full contact, or how do they?
I don't think so. I think they kind of take it easy. But like rugby is a very tough sport. Yeah. You know, you played it. Just like you're just smashing dudes, running and just fucking smashing.
Yeah.
So it's not something that I think you can really keep up for very long.
No.
It's not like yoga. You can just do your downward dog and no one's going to tackle you.
And I remember in practice, and we even had like, because where my university was, we had in like it was called like rugby, like the Royal Rugby Union of England, they like send coaches out to amateur clubs just to make sure that every once in a while can have a pro coach. And just like him teaching us everything and all the rules and everything. And I was like, okay, there is a structure to this, and there's rules on how you can tackle and what happens when you get tackled and lay down and do that thing. And then in the game, it was just like it's just like I'm like, hey, that was a clean tackle and no one cares. And it's
No
just
one gives a fuck. Dude, I remember like tackling this one dude. I was running up to tackle him, and then he just started lifting his knees, and then I was like, oh shit, he's gonna, and then I just got fucking kneed in the head.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you go down to tackle, or they would kind of like do this hip bump.
Yeah.
You know, you give this bam, you get some like, you know, massive kid just bam.
But I saw the highlights from the World Cup final now, and they're strict. They're strict on the tackle if it's correct or not, and a lot of people got sent off because it's just you have to tackle at waist height as much as I remember, and that's different from American football where you can get really like blindsided.
Yeah,
and because you're always going to be tackled from like down here. Isn't that right?
Yeah, you want to go for the legs.
Yeah, but you're not allowed to tackle above the waist.
No.
But in American football, you are. You can just like slam someone here.
Yeah, American football, I think, there's a lot more injuries as well.
But how do you still follow rugby at all?
No, I don't give a fuck about rugby.
Okay.
No. No, man.
But it's so weird that a lot of it's a big sport, but no one in Norway watches it. No one cares about it. Doesn't get mentioned that there was just a World Cup.
Yeah, you know, I played rugby for a few years, you know, maybe like 4 years, 5 years, and I really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed playing it. But I always knew that it was a very, very like violent sport that is like really good to play if you don't get fucked up. But then like I got fucked up a lot. Like I had a bunch of concussions, and like, you know, we fucked up some kids and some kids fucked us up. And it was like this really weird, like, okay, we're gonna like smash this team, we're gonna fuck that guy. It was always fights and stuff like that. It was really violent, bro.
Wow.
So like when I finished, I was like, okay, it was kind of like traumatic.
Okay.
You know, it's like I was in a gang. Like your rugby team, you're like, this is our gang and that gang, and we're gonna fuck that gang up. Not only are we gonna like score and beat them, we're gonna make them like, we're gonna hit them so hard that they forget their names, right? But they always remember our names. Like that's the stupid shit that we would say. So, you know, and I was playing with like a bunch of Maoris, man. Like we were doing the haka before we'd play rugby and everything. So like we get really like psyched up. Like, come on there. So like now I'm like, I don't want to. If I watch a rugby game, like I just get flashbacks to like concussions and like big brawls on the pitch and stuff like that.
Oh, we never played that many games, and it wasn't that hardcore when I played. A friendly match, bro.
Dude, I went to school with a bunch of delinquents. They were all criminals. And then we used to play rugby against other schools that were also all criminals.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was like, do you know what I mean? It was like the worst kids basically in a gang fight against the other worst kids.
Because in England, it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's like an upper class sport or posh sport, but it's that was new to me, that football or soccer in England is like working class, and rugby is more like, I wouldn't say that everyone is that way, but they were more proper.
Yeah,
they were well behaved, and of course they were like assholes at times, but they were more like country living Range Rover typey guys.
Yeah,
they didn't have Range Rovers, but they wanted to have. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's like that in Australia.
No, it's not like that in Australia. And it's definitely not like that in New Zealand.
And I think it's because they often played on these boarding schools in England, and those kids just come from like...
It's rich families. Yeah. Dude, I used to date this girl that went to one of those schools. This was like a while ago. And like the fees for those schools were like insane.
Yeah.
It was like £30,000 a semester or something like that. So everybody that was there was like super wealthy.
Yeah.
And they had a lot of like rugby and stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know.
But the haka thing, and for those who don't know, that's the warrior routine.
Yeah, the haka is...
New Zealand team does.
Yeah, the haka is basically when Maori tribes used to fight each other, they would perform the haka to try to psych out and intimidate the other tribe. And some of the hakas would last 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then everybody's getting so psyched up, and then they would fight, and then that tradition got passed on to the rugby team, and so they do the haka as well.
I would imagine like haka fail or haka cringe would be like a fun thing to watch. Like someone not going all the way and like Are we still doing this?
Come on, man, dude.
Has that ever happened?
Yeah, we had to, when I went to this Maori boarding school, we did this haka that was, I think it must have been like a fucking 11 minutes long. It was so long.
You're wearing yourself out before the game.
Exhausted. Absolutely. So sometimes, and like you're screaming so loud,
and flexing,
and you have like these kind of like teacher characters, like making sure you do it. So in the background, sometimes you're like, oh, fuck this. You know what I mean? There's 30 kids here. I can hide and just do some bullshit haka. But when you did the haka, like if you like when you really committed to it, like my God, you get so psyched. Yeah. Because you're standing around with like, sometimes we do it with the whole school. It's like 300 or 400 boys. Oh, yeah. And we'd just be like screaming, like with our shirts off, banging our chests. Yeah. Dude, it was insane. And we used to do this thing called poly.
Good for anger management, probably.
Yeah, I think so. Because afterwards you're exhausted. Yeah. You're like, I need to go take a nap. But it was just such a, like if you like think about like when the settlement of New Zealand happened, right? It was like 200 years ago, and they kind of had like these wars with the Maoris for like 50 years. And so like New Zealand only properly got settled like at around like 1850, 1860, something like that. Okay. So the connection between the Maori ancestry way of life is 150 years ago, you know, so the traditions are still like really well known. So like if you have a look at like, you know, like countries that got settled 1,000 years ago, like the Sami people or something, like their traditions kind of lost. Yeah. All these people that have you know, they've been integrated with like European settlements for like 500 years, 600 years. So a lot of the, you know, even the language gets lost. But with New Zealand, like it's all still like really in recent memory. It's like 2 or 3 generations ago. And so that's kind of unique, actually.
And it's one of the indigenous people that have sort of been able to work better with Western culture than a lot of other. Isn't that right? Yeah. Like compared to the Aborigines, exactly. The Maoris are way more. To put it in an easy word, like high status, it works. They were like proud warrior people, and maybe Westerners just respected that more.
Dude, that's exactly it. Because the Aboriginal people in Australia, they weren't a fierce. They were like pretty peaceful hunter gatherers. You know, like a really like beautiful coexistence with nature. But the Maoris were divided up into like 32 tribes that all fucking hated each other. Yeah.
Which is the really, Westerners were like, yep, that's us.
Yeah, but they went down, right? And they were expecting to find like these passive people. And they ended up finding like people that had been at war for 500 years. Yeah. And then the tribes kind of united in a way. Okay. And then they started like giving like massive resistance to the colonizers, and then they fucked them up, big wars. And then they go, okay, listen, instead of killing each other, let's develop a treaty. And then they have this thing called the Treaty of Waitangi, which was supposed to, okay, now we kind of work the lands together. Yeah. So they developed that, but only because they could resist the invaders with force. Yeah, first. Yeah, exactly. And the Aboriginal people couldn't do that, and they basically got wiped out. And like English and European colonization, like settlers, their modus operandi was just to go in and then like fuck everybody up, extract the resources, terra nullius, like no man's land, plant the flag for the king. All right, let's do it for England, boys. And that's what they did, like, you know, all around the world, and especially in Australia. Like, they wiped out so many Aboriginal nations. You know, Australia was basically like the European Union just for Aboriginal nations, right? Like, like you could have like a country as big as Australia might have like 50 or 60 different nations in it, right? With Aboriginal. Okay, yeah. You know what I mean? Like tribes with different languages, and they'd been there for like 60,000 years. Yeah. So, like, if you come in and then you like wipe out like 20 or 30 tribes, they're gone forever. Yep. And then just because you get somebody from the other side of Australia who's Aboriginal, that's not the same as the tribe that got lost.
But how's the how's the Maori culture doing now? Is it still a lot of like, did the English or the Western or white people that came there, are they Is it a lot of guilt and shame, or how is that? How do you look at that history?
I think there's a lot of I think there's not a lot of guilt and shame, but I think there's a lot of the agreement was not honored.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like they said stuff, and they, I don't think everybody followed the deal. Like,
No.
Exactly. Yeah. So the Maori
Did
people,
they like try to westernize them, or?
yeah, and they did westernize them, so they integrated, they're fully integrated. And, then they lost land and all that kind of shit. But I still think that there's like a view that the Maori people have, that they're like, what happened in the history was bad for us.
Yeah.
But we're here now. What are we going to do? Let's try to fight for our rights, try to get money to preserve the language, stuff like that. And like they're integrated with society together.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, even though it's fucked up, it's kind of like the best possible outcome. When you have a look at Native Americans or Australian, like Australian Aboriginals and stuff like that. Like native populations always get fucked up.
Yeah.
So at least in New Zealand, they didn't get fucked up as much.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's
it.
I've met a couple of Maoris before, and they've been telling me the same thing.
Yeah.
How long have you been recording now?
Dude, I'm not sure, but I actually have to go kind of soon because I'm going to hit the sauna.
No worries.
Yeah.
But
But we can wrap it up in like a few minutes if there's anything else you want to.
I'm just going to look at my notes here and see if there's anything. We've talked about so much fun stuff, man. So, not really. We've been touching so many of these things.
Dude, we nailed it. We talked about Avatar, bro. When was the last time we talked about Avatar on a podcast?
Oh, that's...
Right? We did it. We got Avatar in there.
But it's been great to have you here, Inia. And for everyone listening who's more curious about you, can follow you on Instagram and everywhere. There's a lot of sketches, norskkurs.
Norskkurs, hvis du vil lære dere litt norsk.
And you do stand-up in big and small places, and go watch him, because
Yes, go watch.
it is fun. And then, du snakker jo litt norsk også.
Ja, jeg snakker norsk som en fuckings legende, bro.
Jeg vet egentlig ikke hvorfor vi begynte å snakke engelsk i dag, bare jeg regner med at da blir det mer, da kan du uttrykke deg mer nøyaktig og mer presist, liksom.
Da kan du banne mer.
Ja.
Da kan jeg si masse banneord.
But where are you going to take the sauna?
Sukebiten.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a good place.
Have you...
Many times. But now I'm a member of a kayak club near Skøyen, so they have sauna there, and they have... Actually did it yesterday.
Oh,
so
nice.
In the cold water, back in the sauna.
Yeah. It's my first time doing sauna since I injured my knee in May, so I'm looking forward to getting in there and sweating my balls off. I'm going to do this protocol where I'm in the heat for 30 minutes, and then 10 minutes cooling down, and then in the water for a couple of minutes.
Oh.
That's my fucking
Well,
thing,
nice.
bro.
It's been a pleasure to have you here.
Sauna protocol, bro.
And good luck in the sauna.
Yeah, bro, I'm going to sweat my balls off, man. Thanks for having me.
No problem.
See you, baby.